Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. And after running out of runway because I wasn't sure if you were coming back, Vinnie, that's Vinnie Parise down somewhere in Chicago, live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. I was like, Vinnie, when are you coming back? Now I got to figure out this. I don't have a one-shot set up.
2 minutes goes fast.
Holy crap. I should have went with the elongated intro. I was like, you were like, I'll be right back. I was like, okay. You come back? Are you coming back? Are you coming back?
I kind of thought the longer intro was the one that was going to be played. That's on me. That's
okay.
on me.
All right. I thought maybe you want to take a dump or something like that. I mean, I don't care.
No, you would get a warning if I did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would have played the elongated intro. Oh, my
funny.
goodness.
Hey,
Devils,
it worked out.
yeah, well, Devils are taking on the Edmonton Oilers today in a big matchup at the Rock as people are filing in on the YouTube Live. I wish I was at American Whiskey. I had to be in Philadelphia today. I had to deal with all this Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I would rather the Chiefs win 10 Super Bowls in a row than Philly get one.
Yeah, I'm on that boat. I would also like to have. You want to talk about Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor after a Super Bowl win. I'd rather have that than the Eagles winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, or the Cowboys.
Yeah, or the Cowboys. Let's put the Commanders in there just for fun.
Why not?
Yeah. But anyway, I know Max is an Eagles fan, and I'm just teasing him as well. But it sucks because there's a lot of people going to this game. Danielle McCartan pinged me earlier this morning. She's going to be there. Danielle McCartan, WFAN. I was like, damn it, I missed you. It would have been awesome. And then today's Catherine Bogart's last day.
Was a little surprised to hear that news.
I know. And, I just got a message back from Catherine, and can't you take some of the LTIR money and pay Catherine more money and keep her on long term and persuade her to stay? I don't know. I don't know what happened either. I can't confirm anything. I know today's her last day. I hope she enjoys it. It's been a good run for her. I know she's been a guest on this network many times, so we wish her the best. Yeah. Max says, I hope you grabbed a cheesesteak, Sam. No, I did go to Chickies and Pete's for lunch.
What'd you have? Not a salad.
Well, I had an accident, and I'm probably in big trouble because the accident. You ever get like mussels, like red mussels and all that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know how sometimes it kind of be tight when you're opening it up, because it didn't open up. Well, I got it open. The problem is it popped out, and like my shirt and my pants got the brunt of it, and right now I got to figure out how to get the marinara stains off of it. But anyway,
hilarious. Now we know why Sam's wearing a plain white tee.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not because he's wearing his Penn State hat. That's the hat that matched the shirt.
Yeah. It's not a whiteout game or anything.
Yeah.
No, I have red sauce on my nice work clothes, right? It's not that bad. I mean, I read the direction and all that. I was just going to consult with Mrs. Wu what to do with it. And then she's going to be like, well, what'd you eat? Red mussels. And I went like that. And then our next question, were the people there? No. But anyway, yeah. I love the crab fries. But anyway, I do love American whiskey at 51 Edison Place across the street from Prudential Center because place has been hopping lately. Devils are on a 2-game winning streak. They're looking good. The post Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton or Siegenthaler, they're not going to come back anytime soon. That maybe Dougie may come back for the playoffs. I don't know, but so now they got to play this team concept, right? They have each other. I felt that the decision making on the ice was crisp, concise, and they went 100% forward. There's no hesitation offense. And they put up 5 goals against the BJs, which was supposed to be a Metropolitan Division showdown. Devils getting 2 solid points, 4-point game. I call it 5-point game if you want to call it a tiebreaker scenario. It is a very, very, very good victory. It was a very good victory. And I think it's because there's no hesitation. They're not, fooling around with the puck. They're just going hard to the net, like what Paul Cotter did. All he did was take the puck and just went straight to the net. And I think that's what's going to help this team win down the stretch.
I agree, and it was the first time they've won 2 in a row since late January, and they're looking tonight to win their 3rd in a row for the first time since late December. So it's obviously important wins. Getting that big win over the Blue Jackets. You got another one against them in Columbus next week. That's obviously going to be huge as well. In this tight playoff race, the Devils came to play in a game that they needed to win. They absolutely needed to win. They'd be in big trouble if they didn't win that game in regulation, and they did. And the Winnipeg Jets beat the New York Rangers on the same night, so they expand their lead on both of those teams. If it's about making the playoffs, then it's more about the teams below the playoff line at this point. Columbus is not one of those teams. They would make it if the season ended today. But I didn't really keep up well with what happened.
Well, they were
yesterday.
on the last wild card spot the last time I checked, with the Rangers trailing, and I think Ottawa has one of those wild card spots as well.
Yep. And then Montreal's 1 point below Columbus for that wild card spot after the big overtime win last night. You play against the Oilers. I wish they were playing the Oilers a week ago instead of today, because a week ago the Oilers were looking a little fragile following the Four Nations face-off. McDavid looked tired. The rest of the depth wasn't producing like we saw them produce last year. They weren't defending well. And then at the trade deadline, they make a couple nifty moves, especially adding that Wallman kid. Unbelievable first game he had. And they came out and got a huge win over the Dallas Stars that everybody's already crowning after making the Mikko Rantanen trade. So now the Oilers are feeling good about themselves. Devils got to play a hard game tonight. It's going to be a tightly contested game, I think, between two teams that have a lot of star power, even without Jack Hughes being involved. There's a lot of number 1 picks and a lot of top 10 draft picks participating in this game between two teams that are looking to, build something in the long term.
Well, Selector Boy saying that Simon Nemec is in the lineup and he's not happy about it, and Steve Engel said they'll be fine. Yes, that's Steve Engel that's going to be at the game on March 22nd at American Whiskey, apparently, because he wants to say hello to the podcast and Alejandra. But anyway, I've made it known I haven't liked Simon Nemec since day one. Whether it's fair or not, it's probably not fair to him personally and all that. And I hope he wouldn't take it personally. I just felt like the Devils had another need that they could have fulfilled. Strictly business, nothing personal. And I'll tell you, Devils have a little momentum here, but I'm going to be pretty pissed if we end the night with a loss and he's -4. He's got to listen to the coaches, and he's got to play a simple game. He can't be just dilly-dallying out there and be, I don't know, sleepwalking like a zombie. Like, he's got to pay attention.
Absolutely. And last time he played, Knowing Dougie Hamilton was out for the season, he excelled. I would say Nemitz had a good rookie year last year. There's really no argument. Like, was he this all rookie, Calder Trophy candidate? No, but he had a good year from the moment Dougie Hamilton got hurt, and he was called up to the end of the season. And then this year, it's been mostly a struggle. So if he really wants to prove himself, now's the time. Go out there and prove that you're going to be on this defense for a long time, or at least be a positive trade chip. Everybody's like, why didn't the Devils trade Nemitz? Why didn't the Devils trade Nemitz? They got Casey. They got this. They got that. Who was taking Nemitz? What were you getting for him? You're not trading him for a third-line center, right? Mm-hmm. Unless we're talking, if Jack Hughes is around and you're trading Nemitz for Brock Nelson, fine. But, that type of trade wasn't happening once Jack went down. He doesn't have the value that I think some people think he does right now. I think he could turn that around. Former number 2 overall pick. Sky's the limit with his talent. He's got to play. He's got to play.
Yeah. Mrs. Fields. That whole thing. I'm on the bandwagon. I was on the bandwagon. Oh, come on. Why don't you win? First off, I've been always a big Mrs. Fields fan. All right. It's one of my favorite places to go to get sweets at Prudential Center since Prudential Center first opened. It's my go-to. It's affordable. Although it's a ripoff for a cookie, it is affordable. It's one of the cheapest things. And I usually get a drink while I'm in that stand. And plus, the lines aren't usually that long compared to, other lines, to get beer or whatever. But Mrs. Fields is my go-to. You had the Welsh Farms ice cream, right? I'm a big fan of Welsh Farms. I told this story the other day that Mom and Dad used to have Welsh Farms deliver milk to the house when I was a little baby, when I was, months old. And then Aunt Annie's, participating in this race and having Mrs. Fields win has brought a lot of good juju to the fan base. The fan base can be a little bit negative, but could this be the next Grimace in sports? I'm prepared to dress like a cookie the next time I'm at Prudential Center. A chocolate chip cookie, that is. Cookie power.
You don't get the inner whistle races on the Jumbotron while watching the game all these miles away on ESPN Plus. I had no clue any of this was going on all season long. I had no clue that Mrs. Fields was 0 for 29 to start the season in races on the Jumbotron. If you're Mrs. Fields and you're letting ice cream and a pretzel beat you all year long, 0 for 29, and then you come out there and just stab them in the heart in this must-win race, and the Devils get a big win because of it. If you're Mrs. Fields right now, you got to be feeling real good going into tonight's race. I'm just saying. You're 1 in 29. Let's make it 2 in 29, eh? As long as the Devils keep winning, I want to see Mrs. Fields keep winning. Let's go, Mrs. Fields cookie.
I kind of want to do a football call of that race. I want to just say touchdown, Mrs. Fields.
Arguably, it works better for a race than it does for a hockey goal.
Yeah, it's touchdown, Mrs. Fields. Put the ice cream and pretzel behind the barn and shoot it. Mrs. Fields wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
End of story. End of story.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Steve Engel has to be, that odd guy saying Mrs. Fields cookies suck. See, this is how you ruin the juju. And if the Devils lose tonight, I'm blaming Steve Engel. You can't be doing that, Steve Engel.
Yeah.
You just can't be doing that.
Positive vibes only.
Yeah. But I will dress like a cookie one of these days. That's how strongly I feel about Mrs. Fields cookies. That's how strongly I feel about the New Jersey Devils and their 2-game winning streak. But the Edmonton Oilers, look, part of the reason why I don't want to go to this game today is I'm still traumatized from the Four Nations final. Connor McDavid. And also, there's probably going to be a lot of Canadian fans there, and I know the geopolitical climate's been hot lately and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I just want to focus on the game. I just want to watch TV. I don't want to be part of that hoopla. It's too intense for me. But it's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a good crowd tonight.
Absolutely. And like I said, the Oilers, they have one of the best power plays in the league, just as does New Jersey. Even without Jack Hughes, they're still good players on the top unit. The Edmonton Oilers arguably have the best top unit, no matter what their percentage is. I'm scared of Connor McDavid. I'm scared of Leon Draisaitl. Zach Hyman is an incredible net front guy. Just pairs so well with McDavid. Oh, only Hyman is good because of Connor McDavid. Then why didn't Connor McDavid have any other 50 goal scorers along the way here? No, Zach Hyman is an incredible player. Would he have 50 last year if he wasn't with McDusty? No, probably not, especially with all that power play time. But he was a really good goal scorer on Toronto. Yeah. You have to have enough skill to put up those numbers with McDavid. Draisaitl drives his own line on his own. He's right there with the Nate Dogg as my MVP so far this year. Sam, I've told you this before. My next goal, I keep adding goals on top of some of the cool things I've gotten to do throughout all this, largely thanks to the Let's Go Devils podcast and all that. But I want a Hart Trophy vote. I want to vote for the Hart Trophy once in my life. If I had a vote this year, which I do think it's possible. People for the hockey news there are people in select cities who do get a Hart Trophy vote, a Norris vote. I guess I should start with I want to vote on a major NHL award. And if I do the Norris first or the Calder first and I eventually work my way up to, having a Hart Trophy vote, fine. If I had one this year, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Leon Draisaitl's right there with the Nate Dogg for me. Of course, I'm speaking of Nathan McKinnon, and for those of you who don't know who the Nate Dogg is, it's a tough team to play against. And I'm looking forward to the challenge tonight for the Devils, because you go up against Nugent Hopkins, McDavid. I didn't even mention Nugent Hopkins till just now. What a great player he is. We're seeing our old friend Adam Henrique tonight. Skinner and Arvidsson replaced. They didn't replace him. They signed him, and then they lost Broberg and Holloway to offer sheets to the St. Louis Blues. I still can't believe the Oilers didn't do that, but I don't think Trent Frederick is making his Oilers debut. I could be wrong on that. I know he hasn't played yet, but we'll see. It's going to be a good game. I love Devils Oilers. Good jersey matchup too.
Yeah, it's going to be speed on speed.
Yep.
Oilers, just remember, they won the Western Conference last year. They were one game or one goal away of winning the Stanley Cup, and they were that close. And this is a very good Oilers team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl really in their primes right now. The Devils are going to have their hands full. Definitely going to have their hands full. But I'm assuming Jacob Markstrom is going to be in net. Someone that's been part of the Battle of Alberta rivalry. Yep. Seen a lot of these players. Someone who's experienced. The Devils defensively, they're just going to have to hold their own. They're going to have to figure it out. But, again, I love their play against the BJs because they were so decisive in their decisions. Whether it's good or bad, they were decisive. And they didn't give the BJs time to react because they were that quick on their decision-making, and their Devils are generally a pretty fast team. So if they keep on doing that and just stop overthinking and just stick to the north-south game, go hard to the net. If anybody touches your goalie, you put them on the ice. I think the Devils can beat the Oilers, but the Oilers are going to make you pay if you start making mistakes. especially with their power play.
Absolutely. And for some reason, winners of Devils Oilers in the last 2 years, I recall going on runs. I'm trying to remember. I want to say the Oilers, because I know there was that game where in 2022-23 where you said, "Oh, I'll believe in the Devils if they win 9 in a row," and then they won 13 in a row after losing the game you said that for.
Did I say that?
To Washington. Yeah, you said it, and they lost to Washington 6-2, and then they won 13 in a row after that. And one of the big wins early in that streak, I believe, was against the Oilers. I want to say Jack Hughes and Heischer combined for an overtime goal. I could be tweaking. It was it was a day game, I remember, so it was probably a weekend. I don't remember the exact, but it was part of that streak. And then last year, the Devils played the Oilers. I want to say this one was in New Jersey in December, late December, or mid to late. It was around the holidays. And the Oilers, it was the first win of like a 12-game winning streak for them. And they rode that wave after the horrific start that they had last year with, ended up firing the coach and bringing in the guy they have now. And they took that all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final where they lost to the Florida Panthers by 1 goal. Devils-Oilers games always prove to have some like long-term impact. It's probably just a coincidence because I really only have a 2-year sample size of example. But, I mean, if you're the Devils or the Oilers and you win this game, both will probably make the playoffs, but what they do beyond that is – up in the air. I think the Oilers are more likely to go far this year, especially since Hughes is out. But I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to this game. I like the Oilers, hand up. Because I try to say I'm objective about the Chicago Blackhawks, I say the Edmonton Oilers are my favorite Western Conference team, and they have been for a couple years now. They rotate. I'm a jump shipper when it comes to my second favorite team. But right now it's certainly the Oilers, I think. And I'm excited to watch them play the Devils. Now, let me make it clear. When they play the Devils, I hate them. I hate everyone when they play the Devils.
Yep.
I would hate a team comprised of my family if they were playing against the Devils. Let me just make that clear. There's no love for me for the Oilers today. But back again tomorrow, I'll be loving the Oilers again as my second favorite team. So I'm excited for this game. Very much looking forward to it.
Joey B is saying Devils at Oilers is like Mo Beard against Del Barton in the 80s and 90s. It's going to be a blowout. Let me tell you something. That rivalry, I think, is from the 1800s, believe it or not. It's 2 private schools in New Jersey. One of them I went to. I believe they had ice hockey teams in the late 1800s. That's how far back it goes. They probably played on a pond, no less. And let me tell you, back in the day, you go to those go to the high school hockey game in Jersey back in the day, the chants that used to be chanted out in today's world would never fly. Let me tell you, it was bad. It was really bad. I'll tell you off air, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. But anyway,
the Chicago Blackhawks have beaten the Oilers this season, 5-2 in Edmonton.
So we have hope, huh?
Any team could beat any team at any time.
We have hope. We have hope. All right, so get your predictions in.
Get them in.
Yes. Get your predictions in because I see Wimpy's like 3-2 Devils in overtime. Luke Hughes with the game-winning goal.
Oh, he's been so good lately. He's been their best defenseman. I mean, it's unbelievable how good he actually is.
He is so
It really is.
Yeah. Just the way he skates.
Yeah.
He doesn't overpower you. He just stops you. Stops you. Just stops you.
It's like diet can't listen. I saw a clip today of Cale Makar. I don't think there's anybody like him. He's Bobby Orr reincarnated. I'll say that. I'll argue it with any person who's older than me that thinks that Orr is just the greatest forever, because I love Bobby Orr. I'm a Bobby Orr guy, and that's why I have no problem paying that compliment to Cale Makar. If I had to pick somebody that could be a diet version of him, Luke Hughes, man. The skating, the patience, the poise, the way he sees the ice. I mean, it was just all on display against the Blue Jackets. I'm sure there's some extra motivation with Jack being out to kind of, now, and Dougie Hamilton and Siegenthaler are out, so he's going to have more ice too. I mean, just what I'm seeing from Luke Hughes since the Four Nations face-off, 9 points in his last 8 games, just incredible stuff. I'm very, very bullish on Luke Hughes, and it's not because he's Jack's brother and I want him to stick around and all stick around and be a happy, winning family. I actually think that about Luke Hughes. They could trade him to the Utah Hockey Club tomorrow, and I'd be saying the same thing about Luke Hughes. I think he's incredible.
Yeah. C. Brandon 182 says 3-2 Devils. Mrs. Fields wins out the rest of the way. Wow.
Let's go, Mrs. Fields and Devils.
Joseph Lanham says 4-1 Devils. Joey B says 6-3 Oilers. Sorry. 4-2 Devils says select the boy. Wimpy wanted to also amend his prediction of a 3-2 Devils in OT by Luke Hughes. That'll be 3 seconds into overtime, meaning breaking that record.
From yesterday?
Yeah, fastest goal.
Did you see that? Oh, my God.
Wow.
Good for Montreal, man. Canada, when Canada's teams are in it, the league has more eyeballs on it. Go hockey.
But I still don't want a Canadian team to win the Cup in the rest of my lifetime.
I get it. If Toronto played Edmonton this year, I think it would have a chance to be in terms of hockey, what I'm watching on the ice. Ignore everything else. What I'm watching on the ice. You could put one team in all red blank jerseys and one team in all green blank jerseys. I think it would have a chance to be one of the greatest finals of all time.
Yeah. But I think from a TV rating standpoint, I don't think it would be. You would lose.
Oilers, Leafs?
In Canada, it would be great, but in the United States, no.
You're probably right.
And that's where the money's made, in the United States.
Yep. You're probably right. But, man, would that be awesome.
Yeah. The law offices of A.J. Visco says 5-0 Devils. Mike Rosenzweig says 5-4 Devils. Michael Rossi says 3-1 Devils. Joey B says 9-0 Devils win. Signed Sam Wu. All right. Let's see here. Max says 4-3 Oilers on back-to-back Nemec mistakes. Nemec needs to prove me wrong tonight. Making a statement. A-Bads. 4-1 Devils with 2 empty net goals. Bobby Orr scored 35 goals in the season. Let's just slow the Luke hype just a touch.
I'm not comparing Luke to Bobby Orr. I'm saying Cale Makar is like Bobby Orr, and Luke is like a diet in terms of the way they play. He's not as good. He's never going to be as good as Makar. The way they play, the style of play is similar.
Just say an appetizer version of Cale Makar.
Yeah. Cale Makar I'll compare to Bobby Orr. I'll have that argument with anyone.
1-0 Devils a serve. Was a survey. Serve. Vinny,
We agreed it's survey when you're reading the comments, so you can say survey says, but we'll respect that it's serve the rest of time.
Mike says, but all the players were not drug tested back then, and everyone was doing blow in the 70s. Drugs and booze alone, those are performance enhancers. Not sure where that came from, but okay.
It's probably saying about Bobby Orr scoring as many goals in one season. Goalies also were wearing newspapers for pads back then too. So,
yeah,
goal scoring is down this season. We're going to end with like the least amount of goals scored in a season that we've seen since probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And Cale Makar has 24 as a defenseman.
Well, hockey was played so differently back then. I mean, back in the day, Bobby Orr days, I mean, used to get in fights with the crowd and take a guy's shoe off and then beat him down with it, like what Mike Milbury did.
I was going to say, shout out to Mike Milbury.
That's like the funniest story.
Cale Makar is such a unicorn that you can't compare him to anybody modern. Like, I know I'm saying Luke Hughes. Listen, the only reason I even brought up Cale Makar when talking, it's the skating. Luke Hughes is an incredible skater. He's fast. He's nimble. He sees the ice so well. I don't think he has the overall skill that Cale Makar has. But in terms of their style of play, the ability to carry the puck and be mobile, I like what I see.
What if you could redo the 2017 draft again? Would you still pick Nico Hischier?
No, I would take Cale Makar. But I think the Devils long-term are probably better overall with Nico Hischier. Because if you take Cale Makar, you never draft Luke Hughes. You never draft Nemitz. And instead of Luke Hughes, though, you probably draft Kent Johnson. And instead of Nemitz, you probably draft either Wright or Cooley. But, like, none of those forwards I named are even close to Hischier.
What's really funny was Joe Sakic really wanted that first overall pick.
Yep.
So
probably would have taken
badly.
Hischier.
So badly. And he felt he got hosed by the lottery sitting at 4th overall.
They had 48 points. They played 82 games and had 48 points. I would have felt hosed, too.
But it all worked out in the end, didn't it? So
it did. I mean, I think Hischier's the second best player in the draft. I'd take him over Peterson any day of the week. I know Peterson has a couple extra secondary power play assists that has him, I think, like 20 points ahead of Hischier overall. But the defensive game of the two-way play of Nico Hischier is going to score 30 this year. I do think in terms of team building, the Devils ended up with 2 number 1 centers and a bunch of really good defensemen, including Luke Hughes, where if they took Cale Makar, that number 2 center would be missing still, I do believe. A bona fide number 2, because Stanley Cup winners have number 2 centers that would be number 1 centers on a lot of other teams. The Devils have that with Hischier and Hughes.
Mm-hmm. Season ticket pricing algorithm. I don't know. I'm reading all these comments. All right, so what's your prediction, Vinny?
I think the Devils win 4-3.
All right. I think Mrs. Fields is going to win.
Please. We need it.
And I also think the Devils will have a 5-3 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. We'll rejoice after the game on Devils After Dark with Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal. He and I are just going to recap the game that was. And we'll talk a little bit Mrs. Fields.
If the New Jersey Devils beat the Edmonton Oilers tonight, I will go directly to the grocery store, buy a pack of Mrs. Fields cookies, and eat the entire pack while watching the Chicago Blackhawks play the San Jose Sharks at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central.
Could we put this live and just you put the camera down and just eat Mrs. Fields?
Oh, I'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, people like it when I eat.
While I watch the San Jose Sharks play because it's like one of the late night games because it's out in California.
Yeah.
The Devils will be long over by the time that game starts. Yeah.
All
Totally.
All right. Maybe
we'll see what happens.
Maybe we'll go to a live look-in on Devils After Dark and see. All right, Vinny is
I'll be on my phone because I got to work. Don't forget, I'm working that game, but I'll throw some time on my Devils win. Mrs. Fields, let's do it.
Yeah, Mrs. Fields. Touchdown, Mrs. Fields. That's what I have to say. Yeah. All right, we're going to get out of here, Vinny. Hitting the button. Wow, that's a little loud. Whoops. There you go, Vinny. Air drumming. There you go. All right, well, we're going to get out of here. Trying to get the graphic up. Devils Oilers tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start. We'll be back for Devils After Dark after the game. Till next time, let's go Devils.